Kwento ng bagong pananaw. Sa produksyon, malakas ang kooperasyon. Katuwang ng mga magsasaka, pamahalaan at pribadong sektor. Dadagdagan ang kaalaman sa kabuhayan. Sa negosyo, pahusayin ang kakayahan. Angkop at bagong teknolohiya, subsidyo, patubig at infrastruktura. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Masaganang ani, mataas na kita. Maunlad na buhay ng mga magsasaka at mga mangingisda. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Masaganang ani, mataas na kita. Maunlad na buhay ng mga magsasaka at mga mangingisda. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Masaganang ani, mataas na kita. Maunlad na buhay ng mga magsasaka at mga mangingisda. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa.
Uunahin iyong kapakanan. Masiguro lang iyong kabutihan. Ngunit di lahat ng oras, ako'y may kalakasan.
Binaha dahil sa bagyo.
Buti na lang, andyan kang masasandalan. Mga pagsubok, mapagtatagumpayan. Lahat kayang lampasan, basta tayo ay nagtutulungan. Masaganang ani, mataas na kita.
Good morning mga ka-Agribiz! Ako po si Mary Joy Pedrasio ng DA AMAS, ang inyong webinar host for today. Halina at sabay-sabay muli tayong matuto at makakuha ng mga bagong kaalaman na hatid ng Kadiwa Agribiz webinar, talakayang ani at magandang kita. Ka-Agribiz, sa araw na ito ay makakasama natin ang mga eksperto mula sa Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, National Apiculture Research, Training and Development Institute o DMMMSU, NARTDI. The institute promotes and pursues the institutionalization and integration of apiculture in agroecosystems. Similarly, they develop and package apiculture technologies and provide extension approaches for our farmers and other stakeholders. It regulates programs and projects, our beekeeping and training, research and development, and extension development. Just to give you a brief background and to know more about the institution, panoorin po natin ang video na ito.
Welcome to the National Apiculture Research, Training, and Development Institute. The National Apiculture Research, Training, and Development Institute, NARTI, formerly known as the Apiculture Training and Development Center, ATDC, was conceived due to the felt need of both the private and government sectors for an institution to spearhead and support the development of the beekeeping industry. The ATDC was established at the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, Bacnitan La Union on September 27, 1991, by virtue of Board Resolution No. 91160, which was the only apiculture center ever established in the country. The ATDC was then abolished here by creating the National Apiculture Research, Training, and Development Institute by virtue of Republic Act 9151 signed by former President Gloria Macapagal S. Arroyo on August 10, 2001. NARTI envisions as a national center of excellence leading in the development of globally competitive apiculture industry. Guided with its mission to promote research and engage in extension and training activities by remaining true to its goal to pursue and sustain the institutionalization and integration of apiculture in agroecosystems for national development. NARTD has following objectives: develop and package apiculture technologies, educate farmers and other stakeholders through effective extension approaches and strategies, develop and promote quality honeybee products and byproducts, sustain the efficiency and effectiveness of apiculture programs, projects, and activities, and develop and implement policies, standards, and procedures to promote the apiculture industry. NARTI addresses the present and future concerns of the apiculture industry in collaboration with government agencies, and it caters to the needs of the existing and potential beekeepers in the country through sterling research and extension development programs. The research and development programs are centered on 6 areas, namely bee botany and pollination, hive management, honeybee pest and diseases management, bee products processing and utilization, beekeeping tools and equipment, and socio-economics and marketing. On the other hand, the extension and development programs are focused on beekeeping training, demonstration apiary, bee health and development, bee pasture and development, bee product development, quality control services, and development and publication of IEC materials. The National Apiculture Research, Training and Development Institute remains steadfast in pursuing its mandate of strengthening the apiculture industry in the Philippines. Hence, key strategies and inclusive approaches are implemented to realize its vision, mission, and goal.
With that AVP that briefly introduces NARTD, sigurado ako mga ka-Agribiz na magiging malaman ang ating usapan sa araw na ito na iikot sa livelihood opportunities from honeybee products and byproducts. Handa na ba kayong matuto at makakuha ng bagong kaalaman? Bago po ang lahat mga ka-Agribiz, paalala lamang po sa ating mga registrants and viewers na sagutin ang ating online attendance sheet na nakapin po sa ating comment section at naka-plus sa ating screen upang kayo po ay mapadalhan ng link ng ating feedback form at online quiz. Just click the link po or scan the QR code para madirect po kayo sa Google Attendance form. Siguraduhin lamang na tama ang inyong email address sapagkat doon po namin ipapadala ang link. Mananatiling bukas lamang po ang link ng attendance sheet habang tayo ay naka-live broadcast. Ipapadala ang link sa inyong email address para sa feedback form at online quiz pagkatapos po ng webinar na ito at magiging open lamang hanggang bukas 1:00 po ng hapon. Kaya palagi pong i-check ang inyong email address. Para naman po sa ating mga ka-Agribiz na gustong makatanggap ng e-certificates, ang mga participants na nakapag-login sa ating attendance sheet ang mapapadalhan ng link para sa feedback form at online quiz. Ang mga participants lamang po na nakakuha ng 60% o higit pa na score sa online quiz ang magiging qualified para sa e-certificates. Kaya naman po mga ka-Agribiz, sabay-sabay tayong matuto at makinig sa ating webinar na ito. Ngayong araw mga ka-Agribiz ay makakasama natin si Professor Caroline A. Akilit, Head of the Bee Production Development of the DMMMSU, NARTD, at ibabahagi niya po sa atin ang livelihood opportunities na hatid ng honeybee products at maging ang honeybee byproducts. Sa puntong ito mga ka-Agribiz ay hihimayin ni Prof. Akilit ang topic na ito na sigurado akong nakapupulutan natin ng dagdag kaalaman. At maaari nyo rin pong maging pasimulang negosyo. Kaya naman Prof. Akilit, welcome po sa ating Kadiwa webinar Agribiz webinar, and you may now start po your presentation.
Mga ka-Agribiz, good morning. This is Caroline Akilit sharing to you livelihood opportunities from honeybee products and byproducts. Most probably, majority of you attended the first episode that was on September 21 for the sharing of livelihood opportunities from beekeeping. And that you may have heard of the rewards of beekeeping. Among such are the bee products. One author described these products as the 7 health secrets from the hive, to include the honey, the pollen, the propolis, royal jelly, beeswax, bee venom, and bee glue. Part 1 of this presentation, we're going to describe each product in terms of chemical composition, properties, and uses. Like any other substance, the usefulness of a bee product depends on the chemical composition and properties. In part 2, we introduce value adding of bee products using honey wine and vinegar as examples. So to start with, we have here honey, the unfermented sweet substance produced by honeybees from the nectar of flowers. Take a short look on how honey is produced. Honeybees sip nectar from the flowers, which mixes with their digestive enzymes, entailing some chemical actions on the nectar's composition. Regurgitate the mixture, deposit the mixture in the cells, then fan to reduce the moisture content so that finally we have the harvestable honey. Honey may be classified as unifloral or multifloral. In unifloral honey, nectars are collected mainly from one kind of flower, like the sunflower honey and the manuka honey. In multifloral honey, nectar is collected from various kinds of flowers. Chemically, honey is composed of carbohydrates, that is around 82%, to include fructose, glucose, sucrose, and other forms of carbohydrates. Water is about 18%, minerals, vitamin C and the B complex, 18 of the 20 amino acids, of which proline is the most abundant, proteins in the form of enzymes, where glucose oxidase is the most abundant. In addition, we also have organic acids like malic acid that contributes to the tartness and flavor, as well as the preservation of honey. Phytochemicals, or the secondary metabolites in plants, can also be found in honey. Some examples are the flavonoids, quercetin, galanin, prosendin, and the polyphenols, gallic acid, and ellagic acid. Phytochemicals occur in honey and in plants in extremely small amount. However, they are so functional because they are bioactive. So with the properties of honey, honey is amber to dark brown in color. The color in odor depends upon the source. Honey is acidic with a pH that ranges from 3.4 to 6.1. Due to its minerals and acids, it exhibits electrical conductivity, and obviously, honey is sweet due to its sugar components. Furthermore, honey is hygroscopic. It easily absorbs water from its surroundings. It is a supersaturated solution, meaning it has a high concentration of solutes, the sugars, so it is prone to crystallization, especially at low temperatures. Due to its high sugar concentration, it is also exhibiting a high osmotic pressure. And with its phytochemicals, it exhibits various bioactivities such as being antioxidant, antibacterial, antifungal, and an anti-inflammatory. So with the rich chemical composition of honey, it has several uses. It is used as food for the bees and human, a sweetener for coffee, and other food preparations for like the baked products. It has the advantage over white sugar as sweetener because of its minerals, the enzymes, the vitamins, and the phytochemical components. Also, honey is being used as ingredients for some medicinal preparations like honey pills and cough syrup. Since ancient times, honey is being used as antiseptic due to its inhibin, believed to be hydrogen peroxide or the agua oxygenada and gluconic acid produced from the action of its enzyme glucose oxidase on sugar. It can be used as preservative in some food preparations and humectant also. Honey could be used in its processed form. Through fermentation, we can produce honey and honey vinegar. So there you go, we have the vinegar and the honey wines. Or that it could be used as ingredients for skincare products, serving various roles such as moisturizing agent, antibacterial agent, and antifungal agent. So now proceeding to the bee pollen. Pollen grains collected by honeybees are mixed with nectar or regurgitated honey in order to make it stick together and adhere to the hind legs as pellets. So that for bee pollen, it has the following composition: amino acids, the lipids, sugars, vitamin B complex and ascorbic acid, or the vitamin C, minerals, and more than 100 different enzymes, as well as various phytochemicals. Bee pollen is mostly yellow, but other colors can be found. It also shows various bioactivities to include anti-inflammatory, antibiotic activity, hypolipidemic activity, and detoxifying activity. So that again, from its chemical composition, bee pollen is food for the bees. Actually, it's the major source of protein and could also be used as food supplement for humans as it contains, besides proteins, we have lipids, sugar, 96 elements, including the vitamins, minerals, and other substances found in human tissues, brain, and cells. The richest food in nature, they say, but deficient in vitamins A, D, E, and K. Likewise, it could also be used as ingredients for skincare products. Bees also collect resinous materials from plants so that mixing them with beeswax and salivary secretion and a little pollen, they produce propolis. So chemically, propolis is composed of the following: resins and balsams, waxes, essential oils, pollen, and various organic compounds to include, again, the phytochemicals, which is over 100 different kinds. And examples again, we have galanine, prosilbene, capic acid, and cinnamic acid. Propolis is hard and brittle, but can become soft, pliable, gummy, and sticky when heated. It has a characteristic and pleasant aromatic smell. The color varies from yellow-green to red and to dark brown, or from yellow to dark brown. So definitely it is bioactive, and because of its hundreds of phytochemical components, so its biochemical activities include again the anti-inflammatory, antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial activities, among others. Propolis is utilized by the bees for defense, from waterproofing their hives to entombing intruders in the beehive. And propolis could be used also in medicinal preparations that can help cure the following ailments: respiratory diseases, sinusitis, bronchitis, and acne. The active ingredient of propolis can also be extracted with solvents like alcohol and propylene glycol. The resulting extract could be used as preservative for food or for additives in skincare products. And this could be due again to their many bioactive activities like antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral activities. So for the next set of products, we'll be talking of secretions from the bee glands. So first, we have the royal jelly, a creamy substance secreted by the hypopharyngeal glands of the young worker bees. Chemically, it is composed of water, polypeptides, 18 to 20 amino acids, sugars, again to include the fructose, glucose, and sucrose, and medium chain fatty acids, meaning containing 8 to 10 carbon atoms, the most unique of which is the 10-hydroxy-2-decenolic acid. It also contains mineral salts, vitamin B complex, the vitamin C, as well as hormones, example of which is acetylcholine, that promotes adrenaline secretion and acts as mediator for the transmission of nerve impulses. Royal jelly is a homogeneous mixture. It's whitish in color with yellow and beige tinges. It has a pungent phenolic odor with a characteristic sour flavor. It's partially soluble in water, whose aqueous solution clarifies when added to soup. Also, it contains bioactive substance, so it could be anti-inflammatory or having antioxidant properties. For its uses, royal jelly is the main food for the queen bee and of larvae that soon becomes worker bees during the first 2 days. Utilized as medicine, it helps combat arthritis, ulcers, arteriosclerosis, and other diseases. Also, it could be used in skincare products, especially creams and lotions. So the second secretion from the bee glands is the beeswax. secreted from the wax glands of young worker bees, and which means 12 to 18 days old. It is composed of the following: esters, hydrocarbons, free fatty acids, straight chain monohydrate alcohols, and others. All high carbon containing substances, and which would explain why beeswax are so much solid. When freshly produced, beeswax is white. Later, it turns to yellow or brown. It has a typical odor originating from bees, honey, propolis, and pollen. Beeswax is an inert material with high plasticity at a relatively low temperature. It's insoluble in water and resistant to many acids. However, it is soluble in most organic solvents such as ether, acetone, toluene, and ethanol when heated above the wax melting point. It is also bioactive. Bees utilize the beeswax in building their combs for brood and storage of honey and pollen. So industrially, these are the following uses. So it could be used as ingredients for cosmetics to include the lipsticks, the mask, eyeliner, and creams, among others. Or as ingredients of some pharmaceutical products like ointments and creams for burn, joint pain, and wounds. Or it could be made into a beeswax candle. And the third secretion is the bee venom, a toxic substance produced in the bee venom glands of worker and queen bees, stored in the venom reservoir and injected through the sting apparatus or the stinger. Bee venom is composed of water, that's about 88%, and the active ingredients or composition: enzymes phospholipase A, hyaluronidase, and the peptides melittin, apamine, apimine, and the mast cell destroyer peptide, which exhibits strong anti-inflammatory effect. We also have hormones such as histamine, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Bee venom is a transparent liquid that dries up easily even at room temperature. It has an ornamental pungent smell and a bitter taste. It's slightly acidic, whose pH ranges from 4.5 to 5.5. When coming in contact with mucous membranes in eyes, it causes considerable burning and irritation. Bee venom is used by the bees for defense. It's also being used in medicine to desensitize hypersensitive individuals and for the treatment of arthritis, rheumatoid, and other inflammations. According to published research, bee venom has potentials for treating HIV and cancer due to its peptide melittin. And now for the seventh secret in the hive, we have here the bee brood, consisting of young and adult bees. So chemically, they are composed of fat, proteins and amino acids, minerals, vitamins A, B, and D, glycogen, and water. so that they could be used as food, especially for the young brood. And another use is as a starter colony for both the young and adult bees. So after describing the different hive products, we're now going into part 2 of the sharing, value adding of bee products, an opportunity for beekeepers to diversify their products and be able to sell more goods. Here are some ways of value adding bee products. We can use honey as raw material for fermented products like wine and vinegar. We can use honey as ingredients in some food preparation like cookies and cakes, or as additives to skincare products like soap, creams, among others. For this sharing, I will concentrate on wine and vinegar making. So we have the needed materials. In fermentation, which is the process involved in wine and vinegar making, we need a substrate, a carbohydrate or a sugar containing substance where honey much qualifies. So besides the fermentable substance, we need water as solvent. We need yeast as a source of enzyme to convert the sugar into ethanol, the alcohol in the wine, or a mother vinegar as a source of bacteria to convert the ethanol into acetic acid in the case of vinegar. Or you might like to combine the honey with fruits, so it's possible. We also need some processing aids. We have here some chemicals, the sodium metabisulfite or metabisulfite from potassium, or simply the sulfites. This is used for sanitizing utensils and containers. Or the citric acid, we use that to adjust acidity of the mask, but could be substituted with lemon juice or calamansi juice. And then some clarifying agents, though it's really optional, to hasten clarification of the wine. So those could be availed of from chemical suppliers. So that's the citric acid, and you have the sulfites. Of course, we need some containers, cooking pots, buckets and pails, and other kitchen utensils, and we have the fermenting jars. Okay, there you go. We have here different sizes of buckets and fermentation jars. So aside from those, we also need filters, racking tubes, something to cover the buckets and fermentation jars like airlock or its substitute. We can have cloth for the buckets. And these are some samples. So that's the airlock. And you can have it substituted with a balloon. Of course, we also need some measuring devices. Refractometer to measure sugar, wine hydrometer to measure specific gravity of the ferment, and for us to calculate the alcohol content of the product. a pH meter or a pH paper to measure acidity, thermometer for the temperature, and of course, you also need weighing balance, graduated cylinder, measuring cups, and spoons. Take a look at pictures of these measuring devices: the hydrometer, the refractometer, thermometer, food thermometer at that, the pH meter, and a pH paper. Balance and cylinders. And once you have the product, you also need some packaging supplies. You have the wine bottles coming in different sizes and colors. We have capsule or the bottle seal, the heat gun, the labels, bottle filler, semi-automatic, or it could be automatic filler. And here are samples of bottles, the capsules, the seal. So we are now ready for the process. In winemaking, we have the following steps: preparatory stage, so that involves the measuring of the ingredients as well as boiling the water or putting the liquid into the recommended temperature, and followed by the preparation of mask. And when we say mask, so that is the mixture of the fermentable substance. In this case, it is honey with the water. So that's the mask. And then we check the recommended concentrations or the desired concentration. So for the sugar content, we check it with the refractometer. Our target for today's presentation is 24 bricks, or that's equivalent to 1.1 in the wine hydrometer. We also check the acidity, the required or the recommended for alcoholic fermentation is 3.5 to 4.5. So we check that with the pH paper or pH meter, and that is where adjustment comes in if they are not met. So add more honey to meet the desired bricks, and add citric acid to meet the desired acidity. We have now here the alcoholic fermentation, which comes in two stages, the primary and secondary. So in the primary fermentation, we add now the yeast into the mass, cover with cloth, stir daily to oxygenate. So this is to encourage the multiplication of yeast so as to attain a faster rate of fermentation. And this may take us 5 to 7 days. So from here, we transfer the ferment into a fermentation jar. So this time, we also have to cover with airlock. This is to discourage entry of air into the ferment, but allows the release of carbon dioxide. And this takes us to 2 to 3 weeks. 3 weeks now. And comes now the aging or clarification. Taking about 9 months or longer. So within this period, we have to wrap or siphon the ferment into another jar to remove the sediments. And it could be done in an interval of 3 months. And if possible, you have to store the containers or the jars into an undisturbed area or a cooler area to hasten clarification. Of course, lastly, we have the packaging of the product. For the vinegar making, the first steps are the same with the wine, except that we may target here now a lower sugar concentration. So there you go, you have the preparatory stage where you measure and boil the water, you prepare the mass, and then you check on the sugar content again with the refractometer. So with a lower sugar content, 21 bricks will do, or that's equivalent to 1.09 reading in the wine hydrometer. So the same acidity is recommended since we are using the same kind of yeast, and adjust if necessary again. Taking note that in stirring and measuring, all utensils has to be sanitized with a 10% sulfite to avoid contamination. So here is now the fermentation stage for the vinegar making. So we start with alcohol fermentation actually. So we add the yeast to the mass, cover with cloth, stir daily so that again, we have 1 week for this, and then we now allow it to continue further or to complete the alcoholic fermentation for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then subject it to the second stage of fermentation, which is the acetic acid fermentation. So the first one is when the sugar converts to ethanol, and the second stage is the ethanol will now be converted to acetic acid. So we add here this time the mother vinegar, and that would take us about 1 month waiting. And you will check on the acidity. It's acidic this time because of the acetic acid. Okay. So the product will also be subjected to aging and clarification, but may take a shorter period of time as compared to that in the wine. And so that will be about 6 months or longer. And it's the same if you have sediments at the bottom of the jar. You can rack that to another jar to remove the sediments. And of course, again, the product packaging. So from the finished product, we'll be sharing here a simple cost and return analysis. Okay, so with the wine, we have the ingredients here for a targeted finished product of 18 liters. So that's the honey, and pegged at 500 pesos per kilogram. You have 3,000. So we have the water, the yeast, and a total raw material cost of 3,080 pesos. Okay. Packaging this 18 liter into 735 ml bottles, we get around 22 pieces. So that would now entail an additional cost from the packaging materials of 1,232, or a total direct cost of 4,312 pesos. So of course, in any production, we also have indirect costs, which includes transportation, labor, water and electricity, cooking gas, the utensils, and rentals, if applicable. And however, for this presentation, I did not yet include the indirect costs, so that finally, with the 22 bottles honey wine from the 18 liters finished product, and at a selling price of 500 pesos per bottle, so we get this 11,000 less the direct cost to give us this net profit, and an ROC of 155.1%. So not really very high because I did not include the indirect cost. Okay. But for sure, we'll not get zero once you include the indirect cost of production. So for the vinegar, again using an 18 liter finished product, we get this cost of raw materials. The added ingredient there is just a mother vinegar. Now, so for the vinegar, we used to bottle it in smaller bottles. So we have the smaller bottles here for 8 pieces, so that for the additional cost of materials from the packaging, we have this, and that a total direct cost of 4,252. So there you go again, the indirect cost. And without considering that yet, so this is the ROC. With the 48 pieces of honey vinegar at 140 pesos per bottle, we get this amount, and less the direct cost of production. This is now the net, or an ROC of 58%. Again, this will decrease on inclusion of the indirect cost. So that's it, mga ka-Agribiz. The 7 health secrets of the hive revealed. And together with my teammates, we say thank you, and peace be with you. Okay.
Thank you for that comprehensive presentation po, Prof. Akilit. To add more of the presentation of Prof. Akilit, we are privileged po mga ka-Agribiz to be joined by another resource speaker, and he will provide us further information on the different livelihood projects that being conducted by the DMMSU NARTD. Mga ka-Agribiz, our next speaker is Mr. Arvin Tuyan, Coordinator of Training and Technical Assistance Unit from DMMSU. Good morning, Sir Arvin, and welcome po to the Kadiwa Agribiz webinar.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma'am Mary Joy.
Good morning po, sir.
Okay, good morning po sa lahat ng ating mga viewers and listeners dito sa ating webinar. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Mary Joy kanina, mga ka-Agribiz sa lahat na sa iba't ibang panig po ng bansa at maaaring meron pa po tayong mga viewers sa ibang bansa. Mga Kadiwa, noong Martes at sa araw na ito, tayo po ay nagbuklod para sa iisang diwa. Ito ang diwa ng pagpupukyutan. Okay? So, at maaaring ngayon po, na patapos na o tapos na ang ating webinar, kayo po ay kakolonya na din. Okay. So, of course, hindi po namin makakalimutan, may we take this opportunity to thank the Department of Agriculture, particularly the Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Division o AMAS, for considering apiculture or beekeeping as one of their subjects in conducting their webinar activities or their programs. And of course, for inviting the National Apiculture Research Training and Development Institute o ang NARTD to share knowledge and information about beekeeping. As mentioned a while ago, one of our existing projects dito sa ating institute is the honeybee product development. So, sa atin pong gawain ito ay nagde-develop o gumagawa po tayo ng mga karagdagan o bagong produkto, sa ibang lingwahe, mga value-added products mula sa mga pangunahing produkto na nagmumula sa mga honeybees. Tulad ng honey o pulot na na-discuss po ni Ma'am Caroline Akilit kanina as one of the main products from the bee ay gumagawa po tayo ng sabon with honey as one of its ingredient. At iba pa pong mga produkto gaya ng mga fermented products na na-discuss din kanina at iba pang mga produkto. So this product development is included na din po sa as component ng ating beekeeping training. As mentioned po last week during the first schedule of our webinar, we are offering beekeeping training such as basic beekeeping training, hands-on training, and specialized training kung saan dito po sa specialized training na ito, dito po na-include yung product development. For everybody's information, nagkakandak na po tayo ng training ng honeybee product development tulad ng honey wine at saka honey vinegar making. So kung baka po meron po mga interesado sa ating mga viewers, so pwede po tayong magbahagi sa mga trainings po na ito. Okay? So sa lahat po ng ating mga viewers, thank you very much for being with us in this webinar at naway marami po tayong natutunan. Naway makatulong po kami para sa pagkakaroon ng karagdagang pagkakakitaan para po sa inyo lahat. Again, thank you very much po, DA Amas at sa ating mga viewers. Stay safe, God bless us all, and sabi nga ni Ma'am Caroline kanina, peace be with you all.
Thank you po, Sir Arvin. Mga ka-Agribiz, bago po tayo magpatuloy sa ating Q&A, ay malugod po ulit naming ibinabahagi sa inyong lahat na ang DA Amas po ay nagbuo ng isang one-stop information desk for youth and overseas Filipino through Facebook, namely Kaayo Help Desk. To know more what Kaayo is, panoorin po natin ang video na ito. Mga ka-Agribiz, may konting technical problem lamang po tayo sa pag-pin po ng ating attendance sheet. Pero meron naman po tayong QR code na pwede nyo pong iscan para direct nga po kayo ma-divert po sa ating attendance sheet. For sure po, maraming katanungan po ang ating mga ka-Agribiz. Kaya naman, muli po nating makakasama ang ating mga resource speaker upang sagutin po ang inyong mga katanungan, mga ka-Agribiz. Magandang umaga po ulit, Prof. Akilit and Sir Arvin.
Good morning, ma'am. Ano yun? Ano yun? Mag-a-answer tayo?
Sorry po ma'am, medyo nagka-problema lang po tayo sa audio. Ma'am, mag-start na po tayo sa ating question and answer po. Ang una po nating katanungan is from Sir Arthur Benosa. Meron daw po ba tayong process how to make propolis tincture using stringless bee po?
Si Arvin. Thank you.
Hello po, Sir Arvin and Prof. Akilit. Naririnig niyo po ako?
Naririnig, ma'am.
Yun, ma'am. Ang first question po natin is from Sir Arthur Benosa po. Question niya po, ma'am, is kung meron daw po ba tayong process how to make propolis tincture using stringless bee po?
Okay, good morning, ma'am.
Morning po.
Doon po sa paggawa po ng propolis tincture, actually is wala pong pinagkaiba doon sa process din po ng paggawa mula sa propolis na nanggaling sa ibang species katulad ng ating Apis mellifera. So, meron din po tayo na, ma'am. Pwede po tayong gumawa ng propolis tincture from the raw propolis of nitong stingless bees.
Thank you po, Sir Arvin. For our second question po, Prof. Akilit and Sir Arvin, ano daw po ba yung pagkakaiba po ng genuine honey sa fake honey daw po? Paano daw po ba madidistinguish po yung pinagkaiba po ng dalawa?
Magdadagdag ako muna. Siya lang, magdadagdag ako muna.
Okay.
Sige po, kahit sino po sa inyo po yung sumagot.
Okay. So regarding po doon sa differentiation po ng fake at saka genuine na honey, marami po yung mga sabi-sabi na paraan kung paano po natin malalaman kung fake o pure po yung honey na lalo na yung mga honey na nasa tabi-tabi, yung mga honey na nasa market. Pero sa katunayan po, napakahirap pong malaman kung ito po ay pure o fake unless na ito po ay magdaan sa laboratory analysis. Pero ang ina-advise lang po natin sa ating mga consumers, kung maaari po na malaman po natin yung source ng ating honey, na before tayo bibili ay mainam po na yun po ang gagawin po natin. Kasi kung alam po natin na talagang beekeeper na nagpo-produce po siya ng honey, so mas magaan yung loob natin na bibili po ng honey na gusto natin. Kasi meron po yung mga ibang individuals, hindi po natin yan may pagkakaila na meron na po yung mga gumagawa talaga ng mga fake honey. So, yun nga po, yung iba, meron na pong nagdadagdag ng mga ingredients ng honey which hindi po yun sana dapat na mangyari kasi nasisira po yung quality ng honey kapag nadagdagan po ng ibang ingredients at saka na bumababa po yung shelf life nito. Kaya iyon po ang pwede po natin gawin. So, Ma'am Carol, meron po ba tayong maidagdag, Ma'am?
So in addition to that, kaya the best pa rin na magiging test for pure honey would be chemical test at doon natin mapuprove kung may based doon sa discussion ko sa chemical components ng honey, meron din ba siya enzyme? Also, yung other ingredients like yung mga phytochemicals. Baka naman yung honey sample din ay more on sugar lang talaga. So that's what I can say. And then,
Thank you po Sir Arvin and Prof. Akilit for that information po. So our third question po is from Ma'am Carmen Calumen Fantilanan. Ma'am, kung pwede daw po bang makahingi po ng inyong contact number para if ever daw po na may katanungan pa sila ay direkta po kayong makontak po nila. And also ma'am, okay lang po ba sa inyo na i-share po natin yung presentation nyo po sa ating pong mga viewers po? Meron po kasi tayong close group po na member po yung ating mga viewers. Okay lang po ba na i-share po natin yung presentation with them?
okay naman siguro. Okay. Okay lang, ma'am.
Thank you po. Ma'am, okay lang po ba din na makapagbigay po tayo ng contact number po kung saan po pwede po kayong ma-reach po ng ating mga viewers?
Okay. Hindi kasama doon. Oh yes, ma'am. Iano namin ilagay na lang.
Sige ma'am, pa-type na lang po and then i-flash po natin mamaya sa screen yung contact details nyo po.
Okay, ganun,
Sige po
ma'am.
mga ka-Agribiz, i-flash na lang po natin mamaya yung contact details po ni Prof. Akilit po and Sir Arvin. Ma'am, for our fourth question po, galing po ito kay Ma'am Isas. Hello daw po Ma'am Caroline and good morning po. Ang question na daw po is about the packaging. Sa packaging po ma'am, pwede po bang plastic jar ilagay? Safety din po ba ang honey if sa plastic jar daw po ba ilalagay? Wala daw po bang magiging problema compare daw po kung sa ibang container nila ilalagay like kung babasagin po ito?
Basta yung may tinatawag naman na food grade na plastics. Right. Correct. Yun, food grade plastic. Yun lang naman. Kung ilan pong shelf life ng honey from wild bees from Salcedo.
Sorry po, medyo nagkaroon lang po tayo ng technical problem. For our question number 5 po, Prof. Akilit and Sir Arvin, bakit daw po from Sir Marjo Passion po yung tanong na ito. Bakit daw po kalimitan ay colored bottle daw po ang ginagamit sa winemaking? Meron po ba itong indication or may kung ano po bang dahilan po kung bakit colored bottle po yung laging ginagamit?
Sa pagkaalam ko, ma'am, to our viewers or whoever is asking the question, usually kung white wine, white bottle din. And then yung mga red wines or colored. And yung reason kung bakit colored bottles is para i-protect yung other ingredients sa oxidation. Para bagay yung sa gamot, bakit dark ang color ng karamihan sa gamot ay para ma-protect yung pagka-oxidize o kaya pagkasira ng ibang active ingredients sa pag-i-expose sa light. So yun yung analogy noon.
Thank you po, Prof. Akilit. Sir Arvin, may maidadagdag po ba kayo? Sir, nakamute po ata kayo.
Siguro nasagot na po ni Ma'am Carol, ma'am, yung question regarding sa bottling.
Apa. Okay po.
Okay.
So, sunod na po tayo for question number 6 po from Ma'am Marlene Francia. Ano daw po yung proportion po ng alcohol vis-a-vis po sa propolis?
Okay, dito po sa doon po sa, actually meron po tayong research doon po sa formulation din po ng propolis tincture. Gumamit po tayo ng, pwede po yung 5%, 10%, 20%, and higher percentage. That is, po siya, percentage by weight po siya. So, pero depende po sa depende na po sa gagawa kung ano ang gusto niya, kasi the higher the percentage po ng propolis, medyo mas malapot po siya. Yung mga iba kasi kapag doon sa 30% medyo malapot na po siya. Yung iba kapag ginamit nila yon, sabi nila masyadong sticky daw. Kaya pero within that 20-30% maganda na po yun na proportion. That is by weight po siya. Percentage by weight.
Thank you po, Sir Arvin. For our question number 7 po from Ma'am Alice Paradeo, how about the wine making mix with other fruits daw po, ma'am? May maisa-share daw po ba kayo na process?
Meron, pero siguro later, not as early as this time.
Apa.
Pwede.
So yun mga ka-Agribiz, siguro po maganda itong panibago po nating topic sa susunod po nating Kadiwa webinar po natin. So, proceed na po tayo sa question number 8 from Ma'am Maria Eva Villamer Adante po. Paano daw po ba ang pag-aalaga ng mga bees at saan po pwede mag-avail po ng panimula nila na bees po nila?
Okay, good morning Ma'am Maria Eva Villamer Adante. Okay, with regards po sa pag-aalaga po ng honeybees, ang ginagawa po natin dito, nag-offer po tayo ng training. Hindi po namin kuminsan hindi namin inaalaw yung mga gustong mag-alaga na wala silang background o training sa pag-aalaga. So siguro ang may advice po namin is mag-undergo muna po kayo ng beekeeping training bago po tayo mag-alaga. And with regards naman po doon sa kung paano maka-avail, unang-una po is matatanong po namin kung taga saan po tayo, kasi sa iba't ibang lugar po meron po yung mga pwede nating kontakin para makabili po tayo ng ating mga honeybee colonies na pwede po nating pagsimulan sa ating pag-aalaga. So, kung saan man po si Ma'am Eva, pwede rin po kayo na dumulog sa Department of Agriculture po sa inyong lugar. Maaring meron na din po silang mga alam na mga beekeepers po doon sa inyong lugar.
Thank you so much po, Sir Arvin. Susunod po nating tanong is from Marlene Francia. Paano daw po, sir, kung meron siyang 500 grams of propolis po? How much alcohol ang kailangan? For example daw po, vodka or gin, pwede daw po ba itong gamitin? At gaano po kadaming ml daw po ng ethanol?
Sagot na lang sa chat box later. So, compute pa.
Okay. Siguro medyo may computation po ito. Medyo mahina po tayo ng mathematics. but anyway pa doon po sa nasabi po natin kanina sa proportion, yun sa percentage by weight po siya. Halimbawa, kapag isang kilo na propolis, isang kilo na alcohol, doon pag 30% po ang gusto natin na gawin na tincture po natin is siguro sa yung 300 grams na propolis. Tama po, ma'am? So siguro sasagutin na po namin sa chat box o kaya sa further information po, mga kasagutan po sa sasagutin pa din po natin.
Noted po, Sir Arvin, and thank you so much po. For now, ito po yung last question po natin. Last two questions po pala. From question number 10 po natin is it true, ma'am, sir, na ang genuine honey ay hindi mag-ice pag nilagay sa freezer? Ang genuine honey po ba ay magmi-mix easily sa glass of water or mag-settle down po agad sa bottom ng glass of water po?
Okay, ma'am. Ayan po yung marami pong nagtatanong po tungkol dito sa pure at saka fake honey, kung ano po yung difference. Doon po sa yung tanong na pag mag-ice pa siya pag ilagay sa freezer, meron po yung mga honey na kahit na ilagay po natin sa freezer ay hindi po siya maninigas, hindi po siya mag-crystallize. Meron po yung honey na pag ilagay po natin sa freezer ay mag-crystallize po talaga siya. So depende po doon sa source na halaman, sa source na bulaklak. Ganon din, doon naman po sa pag-mix doon sa glass of water, kahit po yung fake o kaya yung pure honey, pag ilagay po natin doon sa tubig, sa glass of water, kung parehong mataas yung moisture content, mag-mix po sila. Pero kapag mababa yung moisture content, kahit po yung, sabi natin yung fake honey, hindi agad-agad na madi-dissolve po sa tubig. Ma'am Carol, may additional po?
Ma'am Carol, may maidadagdag po ba kayo sa sinabi po ni Sir Arvin?
Ising sa pagka-crystallize ba? So isang factor kasi doon yung proportion ng fructose at glucose. So normally kasi yung sa fructose ang mas mataas, pero kung yung may instances na may kunting tumataas yung sa glucose na doon sa sinabi ni Sir Arvin na depende nga kung sa anong source ng nectar, kaya yun, yung mga honey na mas madaling mag-crystallize. yung medyo mataas ang glucose content.
Thank you po Sir Arvin and Ma'am Carol po for that information. Ito po yung susunod po nating tanong po. From Ma'am Isel Sebastian. Tanong niya po Sir and Ma'am, since honey can easily absorb water from surroundings po, ano daw po yung advisable way of harvesting during rainy seasons to maintain good moisture content po ng honey?
Harvesting daw. Harvesting.
Okay, good morning, Ma'am Isel. Usually po, ang harvesting po natin ng honey dito sa atin, dito sa La Union is, sa Region 1 is during summer. Ayun pong isang season of honey production po natin dito. And doon naman po sa highland, doon sa Benguet is during the month of November and December. Hindi ko lang po alam kung ano po yung harvesting season po dyan sa inyo. Pero as to kung paano ang gagawin po natin sa pag-harvest po natin doon sa ating honey kapag tag-ulan, hindi po ma'am advisable na kapag umuulan po is magha-harvest po tayo ng honey. So siguro ang isa po natin dapat na gawin, antayin na lang po natin na titigil yung ulan bago po tayo mag-harvest. At saka kapag mag-harvest po tayo ng honey, since yung honey naman po na i-harvest natin is, yung sabi natin, yung sealed o yung ripe honey, yun po kasi yung harvestable honey. So kapag na-harvest po natin yun, dadalhin po natin yun doon sa ating extracting area. At doon sa ating extracting area, dapat siguro doon na lang po sa controlled room po natin siya i-extract para po hindi po tayo magka-problema doon po sa absorption ng moisture from the environment. And at the same time, kapag nag-extract po tayo, agad-agad na din po nating ilagay sa tamang lalagyan at isisil na lang po natin siya agad para maiwasan po yung pagtaas ng kanyang moisture na maaaring ikakababa po ng kanyang storage life or shelf life. So, yun po ma'am. Ma'am Carol, may karagdagan po ba?
Yan, sabi mo lahat. Yan na.
Nawawala ulit si ma'am.
Sorry po, nakamute po pala ako. Thank you so much po ulit, Sir Arvin and Ma'am Akilit po. Bilang pangwakas na lang po ng ating webinar ngayong araw, ano po ang maibibigay niyo pong tips sa ating mga ka-Agribiz na gusto pong mag-umpisa ng ganitong negosyo? Ma'am Carol?
Tungkol sa products. So, ganun din sa bee training, sa beekeeping, okay lang mag-training din para matuto yung para tamang paraan paggawa ng mga products. So, ako man nung nag-start, nakamit din ako ng mga problems, challenges. So, through constant practice, ko na tutunan kung paano talaga gumawa ng wine at saka vinegar, ganun din sa sabon. So, always start the training and then practice and then siguro yun, business side na. That's it.
Thank you so much po, Ma'am Carol. Sir Arvin, kayo po, ano pong maidadagdag niyo po na tips po para po sa ating mga ka-Agribiz?
Okay, sa ating mga ka-Agribiz, sa lahat po ng mga gustong pumasok sa mundo ng pagpupukyutan, kung gusto po nating mag-alaga ng mga bubuyog, unang-una po dapat magkakaroon po tayo ng mga kaalaman tungkol sa pag-aalaga lalo na sa pangangasiwa ng ating mga bubuyog. Mag-undergo po tayo ng mga beekeeping trainings at hindi lang po basta-basta beekeeping training. Kung maaari, sabi nga nila, yung continuous training po kasi meron yung mga nagkakandak ng basic training, meron din yung mga advanced trainings po ng beekeeping. So, papasukin po natin lahat yon kung tayo po ay talagang interesado na mag-alaga o papasok sa pagbibeekeeping. Ang pagbibeekeeping po is napakaganda po itong sangay ng ating isang sangay na na-include na po sa ating agriculture na pwede pong source of additional livelihood po natin. So, maliban po doon sa mga different bee products na makukuha po natin, kahit tulad ng mga nabanggit kanina, pwede rin pong makakatulong ang beekeeping sa ating mga halamanan, sa ating mga agricultural crops through the pollination services po ng ating mga honeybees. So, hindi lang yung honey, hindi lang yung bee pollen, pati yung pollination, paparamihin po yung ani natin sa ating mga agricultural crops. At saka, maliban po doon, ayun ay parang nagiging, ano ba ang term natin doon? Nagiging isa sa mga wellness activity na din po natin yun. Kasi sabi ng mga iba na nag-aalaga ng beekeeping, hindi daw yung product ang parang main na purpose nila kung bakit sila nag-alaga. Parang hobby na din nila, kinagigiliwan nila. Gusto nilang meron silang ginagawa, nakakasama sa kanilang tahanan. Gusto nilang makasama yung mga honeybees. So, marami po. At saka kung gusto po nating mas matuto, hindi lang po ang NARD, meron po yung mga ibang institutions na disseminate din po ng information regarding beekeeping. Meron dito mga private individuals, private entities, at saka pwede rin po tayo pwede po nating bisitahin si Mr. Google, si Internet. Pwede po tayong mag-search para sa mga karagdagang information sa pag-beekeeping. So siguro yun lang po sa ngayon ang aming masasabi. Again, thank you very much, Ma'am Mary Joy. Thank you, DA. Thank you sa lahat po ng ating mga viewers and listeners dito po sa ating webinar na ito.
Thank you so much po, Sir Arvin and Ma'am Caroline po. Especially po sa pag-accept po ng invitation po namin para maging resource speaker po namin ngayong araw sa aming webinar. With this po, we are awarding you this certificate po of appreciation as a sign po of our gratitude and recognizing your valuable
may
contribution to
certificate
the
na ako.
success of this webinar.
Mhm.
Sir Arvin and Ma'am Caroline, thank you so much po ulit and keep safe po sa inyo.
Maraming salamat din.
Maraming
Thank you po.
salamat din.
God bless po sa ating
God
Hanggang sa
lahat.
susunod po ulit natin na webinar na kayo po ang aming pong resource speakers po.
Ay, naku.
Still we met again po, ma'am.
Again po.
Thank you so much po. Bago po tayo magtapos mga ka-Agribiz, shout out po muna sa ating viewers watching po from USTP Claveria kay Ma'am Graceline Dimasing Labado po. Viewers po natin from Apayao, hello po, good morning po sa inyo. Thank you po lagi sa pagsama po sa aming webinar. Viewers po natin from Bataan, good morning po sa inyo and thank you po lagi sa pagtutok po sa ating webinar. Mga ka-Agribiz, ang iba pa pong question na hindi po nasagot ng live ay aming pong i-consolidate at ipapadala po sa ating mga resource speakers upang mabigyan ng nararapat po na kasagutan. Ang kanila naman pong mga tugon ay i-upload sa ating Kadiwa Agribiz Webinar Facebook Close Group Ganon din po ang mga nagtatanong ng copy ng presentation ng ating speakers. Ito po ay i-upload ng aming team sa nasabing closed group. Kaya mga ka-Agribiz, maging member na ng aming Kadiwa Agribiz Facebook closed group upang maging updated sa iba pang announcement. You may request for membership by clicking this link po. Isa na namang makabuluhang talakayan ang ating natunghayan mga ka-Agribiz. Muli, paalala lamang po upang makakuha ng e-certificates, kailangan po na kayo ay makapagtala sa ating online attendance sheet at ang e-certificate po ay mai-issue lamang sa ating mga viewers na makakakuha ng at least 60% na score mula sa ating online quiz. Ang e-certificate po ay ipapadala sa inyong registered email address makalipas ng 3 o 4 na araw pagkatapos ng ating webinar. Kaya siguraduhin po ninyong tama ang inyong email address na nakarehistro. Maraming salamat po ulit sa ating mga resource speaker at sa inyong mga ka-Agribiz sa laging pagsama sa amin para makakuha ng bagong kaalaman. Muli, ako po si Mary Joy Pedracio at samahan niyo po muli kami sa mga susunod na episode dito sa Kadiwa Agribiz Webinar, Talakayang Ani at Magandang Kita.